Chapter 11 Tiandou Royal Academy. Please recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Feng Xian first arrived on Douluo Continent, he considered his options. Point 1. Spirit Hall, 2. Shrek Academy, 3. Heavendou Royal Academy. Spirit Hall was way too dangerous. Going there now would be like walking into a trap, and Shrek Academy. He really didn't want to be Tang San's sidekick. He wasn't interested in sucking up to Tang San, or the other way around. He was more interested in taking him down. Killing the main character, wonder if I'd get some kind of bonus, Feng Xian mused. That left one choice, Heavendou Royal Academy. This academy, founded by the royal family, was known as the top academy in the Heavendou Empire. It had great facilities, strong teachers, tons of powerful people, and masters like Meng Xinji, all over level 80, running the show. Seemed like a good bet. After thinking it over, Feng Xian decided to apply to Heavendou Royal Academy. It might not be perfectly safe, but it was still better than being out on his own. Safety first, that was Feng Xian's golden rule on Douluo Continent, but, because of the academy's royal ties, the first requirement for students was a noble title. Commoners weren't allowed in. Feng Xian always thought this was a dumb rule that held the academy back. No wonder the Heavendou team got crushed in the Soul Master competition later on. Didn't they know talent came from everywhere? Okay, only accepting talented people made sense, but only accepting nobles. He wasn't sure if it was the royal family's lack of brains or just the class system being too strict. This noble title was a problem. He was Emperor Shui's son, sure, but he was illegitimate and didn't have a prince's status. Still just a commoner. Getting into Heavendou Royal Academy as a commoner was going to be tough. Whatever, I'll try my luck tomorrow, Feng Xian said, putting it out of his mind. He'd apply tomorrow, early morning. The sun rose in the east. After a night of rest, Feng Xian's injuries were much better. They wouldn't affect him in a fight. Soul Masters healed faster than regular people, and he'd probably be back to normal in a couple of days. He washed his face, put on a black suit, stood in front of the mirror, ran his hand through his black hair, and checked himself out. Eyes like black gems, sharp features, a strong jawline. Honestly, the only good thing about this loser prince was that he was good-looking, way better looking than that blue-haired Tang San. You could say he was one of the best-looking guys around, probably. Because he got Feng Qingshue's strong genes. Back in the day, Feng Qingshui was the most talented woman out there, beautiful enough to bring down an empire. That's why Emperor Shui fell for her. Around 8 in the morning, Feng Xian left the house. During the day, Heavendou City was bustling, people everywhere, traffic flowing non-stop. It was the thriving capital everyone dreamed of. Meat buns, hot meat buns. Fresh soy milk, hot and sweet. Steamed buns for sale, fresh big white steamed buns. Get your bean curd here. Vendors lined the street, shouting to attract customers. Feng Xian strolled down the street, hands behind his head, casually eyeing the food stalls. He looked relaxed, like he hadn't just been attacked the night before. Hey, 2 steamed buns, please. He went into a bun shop and sat down at a table in the back. He'd burned a lot of energy last night. The smell of food had his stomach growling. 2 baskets of hot meat buns, a plate of pickles, and a bowl of free water. Feng Xian dug in. After a quiet breakfast, he left 10 copper soul coins on the table and headed out of the city. Heavendou Royal Academy. The best advanced Soul Master Academy in the Empire, located in a beautiful mountain range about 12 miles outside the city. It was huge, like a small city. The academy had all kinds of training facilities. The most famous and fascinating was definitely the simulated training environment. The simulated training environment involved picking different locations depending on the Soul Master's martial spirit. A rabbit spirit trained in the bushes. A fire spirit trained by a volcano. An ice spirit trained on a glacier. Matching the training environment to the martial spirit's characteristics greatly sped up the Soul Master's progress. That was the point of the simulated training environment. Wonder if that mimicry thing will work for me. Feng Xian was looking forward to it. He channeled soul power to his feet and started running faster toward Heavendou Royal Academy. About 20 minutes later, a grand and luxurious academy came into view. A golden sign hung over the entrance, with flowing letters that read, Heaven-Do Royal Academy. Finally, Fang Xian said, and hurried to the entrance, but as soon as he stepped through the gate, 2 guards stopped him. They were strong and burly. The one on the left had freckles, and the one on the right had a scar. They had a powerful presence, looked tough, 2 great soul masters. Fang Xian noticed right away. Their soul power was way stronger than his. These guys were over level 20. Sorry, you don't look like a student here. What do you want? That the scarred guard didn't act proud because he was a great soul master. He gave Fang Xian a polite smile and asked respectfully. I'm here to register at Heaven-Do Royal Academy, Fang Xian said. Oh, I see. Hearing that, the scarred guard smiled even more politely. Which noble family are you from? Usually, students applying to Heaven-Do Academy were rich and highborn. A low-level guard like him couldn't afford to offend them. He had to be respectful and not upset the young masters of the nobility. Fang Xian paused. I'm not a noble. What? You're not a noble? That the scarred guard's face darkened. You're a commoner. Get out of here. Heaven-Do Royal Academy isn't for poor guys like you. Leave now, or I'll have to get rough. Fang Xian frowned. Were all noble academies this corrupt? Chapter 12 Summoned by the Emperor, please recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fang Xian stood like a statue at the academy entrance, making no move to leave. The 2 guards, seeing this, snapped. Commoners like you don't belong at the Tiandou Royal Academy. Get lost, or you'll regret it. They threatened, their voices icy. Qualifications? What qualifications are needed? Fang Xian's eyes turned cold as he calmly met their gaze. Is it enough to take you 2 down? A wave of mocking laughter erupted. Take us down. You. Guard Scar scoffed, crossing his arms and sizing Fang Xian up with disdain. Looks like we gotta teach you a lesson, the freckled guard sneered. In a flash, both guards unleashed their soul power. One white, one yellow, 2 brilliant soul rings blazed to life around them, 2 great soul masters. Huh, scared yet, kid? A commoner like you probably won't ever get a soul ring. Now, even if you grovel, we ain't letting you off easy. Wake up, the guards roared, beast-like martial spirit shadows flickering over their bodies. A purple wolf and a gray-brown bear, both power-based martial spirits. Their overbearing soul power surged out like a gale. They swung their massive fists, the wind pressure tearing through the air, aiming to crush Fang Xian. The force of the oncoming fists whipped Fang Xian's dark hair back, revealing eyes as bright as stars. Fear was absent from his face. He channeled power into his palms, and with a swift motion, unsheathed the shadowless knife from his waist. Batakujutsu, the blade, fueled with thunderous momentum, crashed head-on into the guard's fists. Bang, star, the explosion echoed, sending both guards flying backward. Ah, impossible, their faces drained of color, and they coughed up blood. The blade-drawing technique had unleashed devastating force, blasting them away. He defeated 2 great soul masters with a single strike. His expression remained cold, and Fang Xian smoothly resheathed his blade, turning his indifferent gaze to the 2 humiliated guards. So, am I qualified now? The instantaneous burst of power from the blade-drawing technique was immense, rivaling even some beast martial spirits. Had he not held back, the guards would be corpses. He didn't want trouble at the Tiandou Royal Academy gates. He only wanted to prove his worth. Damn you, the guards seethed, refusing to accept defeat. They glared at Fang Xian, their threats ringing out, you punk, you just wait. You dare cause trouble at our academy? We're calling the guards, and they'll beat you half to death. Fang Xian had shown mercy, letting them go, yet they offered no gratitude and instead threatened to sick the academy on him. They were arrogant beyond belief. Just then, a man in his 30s approached from within the academy, with simple, dark hair, ordinary features, and clad in a clean, plain white robe. He was the type of average man that wouldn't catch a second glance in a crowd, but from his person radiated a powerful aura, rippling like the ocean. Teacher Qin Ming. Seeing him, the two guards were ecstatic. They rushed to Qin Ming, whining, "Teacher Qin, this guy came to our academy causing trouble, injuring us for no reason. You have to stand up for us." "Shut up." Surprisingly, Qin Ming didn't defend them. Instead, he coldly rebuked the guards. "I was watching nearby, and I saw everything. How many times have I told you, there's no difference between people, high or low. Don't look down on others because of their background. Do you two even want to keep your jobs? If not, pack your bags and leave Tiandou Academy today." "Teacher Qin, we were wrong." Their faces flushed, and they shamefully lowered their heads. "I'm not the one you should be apologizing to. Go apologize to that boy." Qin Ming gestured toward Fang Xian. "We're sorry, kid. It was all our fault." The guards, thoroughly humiliated, approached Fang Xian and sincerely apologized. Fang Xian was taken aback, as though he'd found a breath of fresh air in this aristocratic academy. Qin Ming. Level 62 Attack Spirit Emperor, Martial Spirit, Fiery Canglang, studied at Shrek Academy and later taught at Tiandou Royal Academy. He was the most respected high-level teacher at the academy. In the world of Douluo, Qin Ming valued friendship above all else. Though he didn't have much screen time, he left an unforgettable mark on the audience. Fang Xian respected people like Qin Ming who valued loyalty and honor. The Douluo plot was still in its early stages. Qin Ming likely hadn't broken through level 60 yet, probably around level 57 or 58. He knew from the battle between the Tiandou and Shrek teams that Qin Ming would break through to level 60, the 6th ring Soul Emperor, in about a year. "Hello, young man. My name is Qin Ming, and I'm a teacher at Tiandou Royal Academy." Qin Ming greeted Fang Xian with a smile. "Hello, Teacher Qin. My name is Fang Xian. I've come to Tiandou Royal Academy to enroll." "Well, you defeated two great soul masters with one strike. Your strength definitely meets the admission standards." Qin Ming nodded, acknowledging Fang Xian's abilities. He paused, frowning slightly. "However, the issue of status is more troublesome. Tiandou Royal Academy's first rule is that we only accept students from noble families, so..." He glanced at Fang Xian with regret. Although Qin Ming had repeatedly protested against this unfair system, the academy was essentially controlled by the royal family, and the old conservatives within the family, deeply rooted in notions of bloodlines, remained stubborn and unwilling to budge. Because of this, Tiandou Academy had let go of countless outstanding talents. "I understand." Fang Xian sighed inwardly, knowing that his chances of joining Tiandou Academy were slim. He wasn't overly disappointed and simply planned to look elsewhere. "Excuse me, Teacher Qin." Fang Xian politely said goodbye to Qin Ming, turned, and calmly began to leave. "Oh, what a pity." Qin Ming watched Fang Xian's retreating figure, sighing with regret. He felt as though he'd missed out on a promising student. Hee. The two guards watched Fang Xian with gloating eyes, secretly laughing to themselves. Just then, a group of soldiers in golden armor, riding horses, thundered into the area, blocking Fang Xian's path. There were 20 of them, each with a powerful build and sharp eyes. Every one of them radiated an imposing aura, and their soul power pulsed outwards. They were a powerful soul master army. Under everyone's astonished gaze, the golden-armored soldiers dismounted, knelt before Fang Xian, and said respectfully, "We greet His Royal Highness." The entire audience was stunned. Chapter 13 Father and Son. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. These are, the Emperor's Royal Guard. Everyone went silent, recognizing the elite squad instantly. They were the Emperor's Royal Guard, sworn to protect Emperor Shuya himself. Wait, is he actually a prince? The two guards went pale, staring at Fang Xian in disbelief. Regret gnawed at them. Who would have thought the kid they'd turned away from the school for being a commoner was a prince? It didn't seem possible. Even Qin Ming was stunned, completely lost. "What do you want with me?" Fang Xian frowned, a hint of suspicion in his eyes, and stared down at the lead guard. Your Highness, the Emperor requests your immediate presence at the palace. He's been expecting you. Emperor, Fang Xian's expression hardened. From what he remembered, the Emperor had never given him the time of day. Why this sudden interest? And the day after someone tried to kill him? Too coincidental. Fang Xian sensed trouble. Emperor Shuya was barely a blip in the Douluo story, but anyone who became emperor had to have serious power and skill. He was still too weak. If he had a choice, he'd steer clear of royal drama, but it looked like he was out of luck. Despite the idea of the palace, a dragon's den, making him want to turn tail and run, he nodded. All right, I'll go. Fang Xian knew he couldn't refuse Emperor Shuya's summons. In this world, power was the only thing that mattered. As Fang Xian left with the royal guard, the two guards stood horrified, mumbling, "He's not just a noble, he's royalty." Inside the Tiandou palace, in a lavish hall, a man in his 50s sat on the throne, draped in a golden robe and wearing a gold and diamond crown. His face was lined, his hair white, making him look old, but he sat tall, his dark eyes sharp, radiating the presence of a king. This was Emperor Shuya, one of the most powerful people in Douluo Continent. Below him, Fang Xian stood silently, radiating respect, knowing the man on the throne held his life in his hands. He was too weak to do anything but play along for now. Emperor Shuya studied Fang Xian's face, saying softly, "You look so much like your mother." Fang Xian's guard went up, becoming even more respectful. "I'm sorry I couldn't be there for her at the end," Shuya said sadly. "It wasn't your fault," Fang Xian replied. "You've been on your own all these years, and that's wrong. I've failed you." Shui sighed. "You're the emperor. You're busy running a country." "I understand," Fang Xian said calmly. Shui was surprised. He'd expected anger, tears, maybe even a tantrum. Instead, Fang Xian offered nothing but understanding. Shui knew he'd failed as a father, but his son had no complaints, and it made him appreciate Fang Xian even more. It was a shame he couldn't awaken his martial spirit. In Douluo Continent, everyone had a martial spirit. It could be useless, average, or top tier. Everyone got one. He'd even heard tales of twin martial souls, people born with two, but he'd never seen one. For some reason, his own son couldn't awaken one at all. He was probably the only one in the entire continent. Shui sighed, feeling defeated. His son was a one-in-a-million oddity. "Fang Xian, you may not carry my name, but you're still my son. I haven't been there for you, and I want to make things right." Shui looked him in the eye. "I'm giving you a territory. I've chosen a spot in Fasno province, in the southwest. It's called Snow City, surrounded by mountains and rivers. The climate is beautiful, like spring year-round. You can be a lord there. I'll make sure you have a good life, rich and carefree." For a commoner, it was a dream to escape their status and become a lord. He figured he was being more than generous. A guy who couldn't awaken his martial spirit, handed a title and a life of luxury. What could he complain about? But to Shui's surprise, Fang Xian, who hadn't objected to anything, was about to decline. "Your Majesty, I don't want to go to Snow City." Fang Xian remained respectful. "I want to study at Tiandou Royal Academy." "You want to go to Tiandou Academy?" Shui frowned, looking annoyed. Why turn down being a lord to go to school? He just didn't get it. Shui stared at Fang Xian, saying, "You can't even awaken your martial spirit. What good will that do? You're better off in Snow City. You're practically an adult. I'll arrange a marriage for you. I've heard the youngest princess of Balak Kingdom is your age and very beautiful. I'll betroth her to you. What do you think, is this exile, ? Fang Xian sneered. He could tell Emperor Shuya didn't want to make it up to him, he wanted him gone. As for the so-called generosity, it was nothing to an emperor. He didn't care about being a lord or marrying a princess. He just wanted to live. If he could get through 3 years in Douluo Continent, he was confident he could reach level 50, and nobody could push him around. He was still on Qian Renshue's hit list. If he went to Snow City, the Spirit Hall would take him out on the road. It was safer to stay in Tiandou City. and join a powerful Soul Master Academy. Fang Xian stiffened his back, looked Shui Yi in the eye, and said, Your Majesty, I want to go to Tiandou Royal Academy. Chapter 14 Brothers. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The hall went silent. Emperor Shui Yi's silence seemed to suffocate the room, a palpable tension making Fang Xian's skin crawl, but he wouldn't back down, his life depended on it. All right, Shui Yi finally said, staring at Fang Xian. I'll let you enroll in the Tiandou Royal Academy. But if you don't meet the Academy's standards after a year, you're out. And you can go rule over Snow City. Yes. Fang Xian's eyes lit up, and he nodded emphatically. Tiandou Academy might be known for its corruption, but it still held its students to a certain standard. Every year, there was a strength test. Fail, and you were expelled. No matter your noble title, new students were expected to reach soul power level 21 after 1 year of training. Anything less, and they were considered failures. Fang Xian was currently at level 11, 10 levels in 1 year. He clenched his fists, determination burning in his eyes. With the sword drawing system and relentless practice, he was confident he could meet the Academy's demands. Good. I'll have someone arrange your enrollment. Shui Yi paused, then called out, Qinghe. Fang Xian tensed, sensing a presence approaching from the left. A slender figure emerged from the depths of the hall. It was a young man in his 20s, with short, light blonde hair and a face as smooth as jade. He was strikingly handsome, with a perpetual, gentle smile that made him seem like a breath of fresh air. Dressed in a luxurious robe, he radiated nobility. A charming young man, Shui Qinghe. Fang Xian's gaze hardened. The Crown Prince, in person, was different from his anime depiction. More handsome, more regal, more flawlessly polite. He was completely natural, with no discernible flaw. The picture of perfection. Qinghe, you heard everything. I'm entrusting Fang Xian's enrollment to you. Shui Yi smiled at Shui Qinghe, instantly transforming from a stern emperor to a loving father. His tone was infinitely kinder than it had been with Fang Xian. This was how he treated his own son, the one he was most proud of. Yes, father. Shui Qinghe smiled and nodded, perfectly mirroring Shui Yi's own gestures and tone. If Fang Xian weren't a time traveler familiar with the Douluo Continent plot, he'd never suspect Shui Qinghe was actually Qian Renxue in disguise. Her acting was just that good. Because of her royal standing, this woman would become Fang Xian's most dangerous enemy. Very well, you may both leave now. Shui Yi seemed tired, slowly closing his eyes and waving them away. Yes. They bowed respectfully and walked out of the hall. Fang Xian and Shui Qinghe strolled side by side through the imperial garden. Shui Qinghe was incredibly courteous, with no trace of princely arrogance. His smile was warm and genuine, leaving Fang Xian amazed by her performance. Just last night, this woman had sent Soul Sect members to assassinate him. Now, she was feigning brotherhood with disarming sincerity. Seeing Qian Renxue in person, he couldn't help but admire her cunning and political acumen. Little brother, we practically run Tiandou Royal Academy. You'll be safe and secure there. If you ever run into any trouble, come straight to me. Shui Qinghe said with a confident smile, patting his chest like an older brother. Thank you, Your Highness the Crown Prince. Fang Xian replied with an exaggerated expression of gratitude. Don't be so formal. We're brothers now. Shui Qinghe chuckled, then grew serious, fixing Fang Xian with a deep gaze. Of course, if you slack off or cause trouble, I won't hesitate to set you straight. I wouldn't dare, Fang Xian said respectfully. I'll dedicate myself to my studies. Thank you for the opportunity, Your Highness. Shui Qinghe gently clapped Fang Xian on the shoulder. We're brothers. Drop the Your Highness stuff. Just call me Big Brother. Drama Queen. Give her an Oscar. Fang Xian hesitated, then forced an excited smile. Big Brother. Good. Shui Qinghe nodded approvingly. You have to believe that even if my father can't acknowledge you publicly, he still cares about you. He pulled a gold medal from his robe and handed it to Fang Xian. This is my personal token, signifying my status as Crown Prince. If you ever need anything, show this at the palace gates, and no one will dare stop you. Fang Xian slowly took the token, tears welling up in his eyes. Since my mother died, no one has ever been so kind to me. He burst into sobs, throwing his arms around Xueqinghe. Brother. Xueqinghe stiffened, feeling Fang Xian's strong body pressed against him. The intimate contact sent a shiver down his spine. It was the first time she'd been embraced so closely by a man. Her self-control nearly snapped, and she reflexively tried to push him away, but Fang Xian suddenly exerted incredible strength, his arms like iron bands around her waist, preventing escape. Desperate, she prepared to unleash her soul power and blast him away. Brother, I've finally found family. Fang Xian sobbed, burying his face in Xueqinghe's chest and wiping his nose on the luxurious robe, and he wasn't finished. He then slapped the ladders behind. Whack, the sound was loud and clear. Qian Renxue, disguised as Xueqinghe, nearly passed out from rage, and the soul power she'd been gathering collapsed. If I can't beat you now, I'll disgust you to death first. Fang Xian grinned inwardly. Chapter 15 in the future. Goodbye. You are listening at novelfull.audio. See ya, big bro. Fang Xian waved his little hand, excitedly saying goodbye to Qian Renxue at the palace entrance. Goodbye. Qian Renshue's teeth were practically grinding, but she forced a bright smile. She'd almost been had by Fang Xian just now. She was sure her disguise was perfect and her true identity as a woman remained a secret. Besides, Fang Xian's tears seemed totally genuine. He must have really been moved by me. Qian Renxue finally concluded. If she hadn't been certain her cover wasn't blown, she would have sworn Fang Xian was deliberately trying to get a cheap shot. Ouch! That stings. A burning pain shot through her rear. Qian Renshue's face flushed. Her hands instinctively went to her slightly swollen backside, and she nearly lost it. That little jerk. Fang Xian had put enough soul power into that slap to shatter a rock. That kind of force, landing squarely on Qian Renshue's delicate bottom, it was humiliating, infuriating, and it hurt like hell. But, calming down, Qian Renshue's eyes turned ice-cold, devoid of any emotion. She muttered to herself, how did he survive? Qian Renxue was all business. Around 2 p.m., Fang Xian, fresh from lunch, got his acceptance letter to the Tiandou Royal Academy. Honestly, the whole scene felt a bit like getting that acceptance letter from Harvard. Same old. Fang Xian's first impulse back then was to down a bowl of ramen to process the shock. Meanwhile, word spread like wildfire through Tiandou City. Fang Xian, the useless prince, was joining the Tiandou Royal Academy. Everyone was talking about it. Hey, you hear? That good-for-nothing prince is heading to the Tiandou Royal Academy. What's that about? Can a zero really become a hero? He can't even use soul power. What's the point of putting him in Tiandou Academy? It's just a waste of the Empire's money. Ha! You guys are missing the bigger picture. There's a reason Emperor Shuya suddenly decided to bring that bastard son in from the cold after ignoring him for over a decade. Could it be, the Crown Prince? No way. We already have a Crown Prince. Just wait, folks. This is gonna be good. Walking down the street, Fang Xian could feel the stares and hear the whispers following him. He was definitely the center of attention. Yeah, kinda like a celeb. Not bad. Fang Xian stayed cool and didn't let it bother him. He went home, packed a bag, locked up the house, and headed straight for the Tiandou Royal Academy. Time is of the essence. He had to make every minute count, get stronger, and make a breakthrough in the Douluo Continent ASAP. He wasn't about to waste any time. He was moving into the academy today and starting his training. Just as he left Tiandou City, a sweet voice rang out behind him. Hey, Fang Xian. The voice was vaguely familiar. Fang Xian stopped, looked back, and saw a beautiful girl with blue hair running towards him, grinning and waving like crazy. It was Shui Binger. Here we go. The bill collector's here. Fang Xian realized he was in trouble. He whipped his head around, pretended not to see her, and sprinted out of town. Hey! What, why are you running? Shui Binger's smile froze. She'd come to say hi, and he turned and bolted. She was not happy. Stop! Shui Binger stomped her foot. Ice blue soul power swirled around her, and the image of a sacred ice phoenix shimmered behind her, activating her martial soul. She spread a pair of huge wings and took to the air, becoming a streak of light as she chased after Fang Xian. Whoosh! Flying beats running any day. Plus, Shui Binger was a soul master far stronger than Fang Xian, so she caught up in a heartbeat, her blue hair flying, wings flapping. Shui Binger hovered like a goddess, a dark look on her face as she glared at Fang Xian below. Why are you running? Am I scary? I'm not gonna bite. She snapped, looking at the angry girl. Fang Xian massaged his temples, cleared his throat, and said, hey, aren't you, what a coincidence, running into you here. Shui Binger floated down, eyeing him with resentment. We're leaving. I came to say goodbye. What, you're leaving? For real? Fang Xian's face lit up. He barely stopped himself from saying good riddance. His obvious glee made Shui Binger even angrier. Fang Xian was pushing her buttons big time. I heard you joined the Tiandou Royal Academy. Shui Binger tried to sound calm. Yep, Fang Xian said. Then we're enemies now. Shui Binger's eyes narrowed. In 2 years, there's the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition. We'll meet on the battlefield, and I'm gonna crush you. Okay. Fang Xian replied, unimpressed. Shui Binger bit her lip, her eyelashes fluttering, giving him a resentful look. I'm leaving, and you have nothing to say. Fang Xian thought for a second. Study hard at Tianshui College, and stay out of Tiandou City. Go to hell. I never want to see you again. Tears welled up in Shui Binger's eyes. She glared at Fang Xian, then spun around and stormed off. Yes. Fang Xian grinned. Finally, he'd gotten under her skin, around my creditor. Every breath felt like pressure. It was awful, so, from now on. No goodbyes. Chapter 16 Enrollment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiandou Royal Academy. Despite boasting a strong faculty and advanced training facilities, and being known as the Empire's top academy, it hasn't produced many truly powerful soul masters in recent years, none who've really made a name for themselves on the continent. Few people with genuine talent actually get into Tiandou Academy. Most rely on connections and noble titles, which is the core of the academy's decline. With its reputation on the line, the teachers are desperate for talent, hoping to finally find some truly gifted students. However, the new student arriving today isn't the genius they've been waiting for, but Fang Xian, who got in through connections, pulling strings. As dusk settled, the sunset blazed like fire, stretching across the sky and painting it a fiery red. Fang Xian, bathed in the afterglow, hurried towards Tiandou Royal Academy, arriving just before nightfall. At the academy's entrance, Qian Renxue, dressed as a man, stood quietly beneath a ginkgo tree. Her blonde hair flowed in the breeze, and she exuded grace and luxury. Even in disguise, she possessed undeniable charm. Bro, great to see you. As soon as Fang Xian spotted Qian Renxue, he rushed over, ready to give her a bear hug. But Qian Renxue was prepared this time. Stepping back nimbly, she easily avoided him. Little brother, you have to be respectful in public. Qian Renxue stood with her hands behind her back, her pretty face stern, and lightly scolded Fang Xian. Okay. Fang Xian was disappointed about not being able to tease Qian Renxue, but with a bright smile, he pretended to be a well-behaved younger brother, following Qian Renxue respectfully as they headed into the academy. As they passed through the gate, the two guards saw Fang Xian walking with the crown prince, and their faces turned pale with shock. It was like a diamond in the rough, an ordinary guy who'd suddenly struck gold. He had really transformed. Your Highness. Terrified, the guards trembled. bowing deeply and hitting their foreheads on the ground in an almost humiliating salute to Fang Xian. Fang Xian ignored them, calmly following Qian Renxue into the academy. Tiandou Academy is nestled in the mountains, occupying a vast area with beautiful scenery and air that's fresh and clean. Everywhere you look, there are tall buildings. Towering pines and cypresses line the streets, and passing through each park reveals beautiful flower gardens bursting with color. Our Tiandou Royal Academy currently has about 500 students, all of whom are children of nobles from the empire and its affiliated kingdoms. We also have over 50 teachers, all powerful elite soul masters. In terms of faculty strength, we're among the best on the entire continent. A hint of pride appeared on Qian Renshue's face, as she patiently touted Tiandou Academy's strengths to Fang Xian, clearly wanting to show off. Fang Xian listened silently, but inwardly, he scoffed. Everyone knows your Tiandou Academy is one of the richest, but it just can't seem to produce real talent. Qian Renxue was clearly trying to emphasize the positives to mask the negatives, but Fang Xian knew the situation better than she did, so these little tricks didn't fool him at all. Bro, why are you smiling like that? After talking for a while, Qian Renxue noticed Fang Xian's amused expression and frowned slightly. Happy, Fang Xian said instantly, I was just thinking what an honor it is for me to join such an amazing academy. Oh. Qian Renxue glanced at Fang Xian suspiciously, but didn't press the issue. She put her hands behind her back and continued playing the role of a responsible older brother, giving Fang Xian a detailed introduction to the academy. The students are divided into 3 levels, Tianwei, Tianji, and Tiandou, from lowest to highest. New students below level 25 are Tianwei level. Those who reach level 25 to level 30 are 1 level higher, Tianji level. And those above level 30 are at the top Tiandou level. Anyone who reaches Tiandou level is considered an extremely talented genius. Here, Qian Renxue gave Fang Xian a meaningful look. Bro, I hope you can break through to level 30 someday and become a Tiandou level student. Yeah, I'll do my best. Even though he knew Qian Renxue was being somewhat disingenuous, Fang Xian still nodded firmly. The teachers are graded the same way as the students. Soul sects above level 40 are Tianwei level, Soul kings above level 50 are Tianji level, and Soul emperors above level 60 are Tiandou level. Qian Renxue carefully explained, students at each level are taught by teachers of the same level. Since you're starting as a Tianwei level student, the teacher responsible for your training will be a Tianwei level teacher above level 40. Oh, I see. Fang Xian nodded, although this detail hadn't been mentioned in the book. Don't worry, the teacher I chose for you is the best in the Tianwei class, named Rulan. I believe teacher Rulan will be a great instructor. Qian Renxue smiled and patted Fang Xian on the shoulder. It's getting late. You can report to teacher Rulan tomorrow and start training with her. Yes, I understand, Fang Xian replied. Qian Renxue showed Fang Xian around almost the entire academy, explaining the different campus areas, dormitories, and training grounds. As darkness fell, Qian Renxue led Fang Xian to the main campus. In the northernmost part, there was a secluded courtyard, which she had prepared as his residence. It consisted of 3 clean rooms, a small courtyard, a living room, and a bathroom, all fully furnished with daily necessities, a relatively luxurious setup. After touring the area for so long, Fang Xian was most impressed with this small courtyard. Alright, it's getting late, I should go. Qian Renxue smiled slightly, preparing to leave. Bro, give me a hug before you go. Fang Xian's face was full of gratitude as he opened his arms, ready to pounce on Qian Renxue. Ah, practice hard here, I'll see you later. Seeing Fang Xian charging towards her, Qian Renxue was startled and quickly warned him before hurrying away. Qian Renshue's behavior today was flawless. One could say she was a perfect and caring brother. Fang Xian saw right through her, but kept it to himself. He could use Xueqing's identity as a benevolent brother to get even more benefits from Qian Renxue. I'd like to borrow 1.8 million from you. As your big bro, you can't refuse, right? He played with the prince's token made of pure gold, and couldn't help but smirk. now that he had successfully joined Tiandou Academy, everything was in place. Feng Xian's eyes were full of determination. It was time to start training. He quickly drew his shadowless sword and began practicing his sword-drawing skills under the quiet night. Chapter 17 A Year in a Hurry. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Time flies, a year gone by, we're at the Tiandou Royal Academy, on the training grounds. Oh crap, that Redbud Lion Mastiff broke through to the Millennium Soul Beast level and escaped. News of the escape spread like wildfire, and the students, who'd been quietly practicing, were instantly thrown into panic. Redbud Mastiffs are natural-born kings among soul beasts. After hitting that 1000-year level, their power is terrifying, and regular soul masters are no match. Someone get a teacher, quick. Nobody expected the Redbud Mastiff to break free. Caught completely off guard, the students freaked out. In seconds, the training ground emptied as dozens of students scattered. Roar! Did a deafening roar ripped through the air. A massive black shape plummeted from the sky, slamming into the ground like a cannonball. 2 students, caught in the impact zone, were instantly crushed. Roar! Roar! It was the Redbud Mastiff. Its body glowed with an eerie purple light, as huge as a house. Its jaws opened in a menacing roar, radiating immense power. It really was the escaped Millennium Mastiff. Oh, man! The students who saw the Redbud Mastiff's arrival went white as ghosts. Most of them were around level 20, some even lower, fresh out of the gate. They wouldn't stand a chance against a 1000-year-old Redbud Mastiff, even if they all teamed up. Where are the teachers? We're gonna die. Run! Get out of here! The soul beast's escape was a total surprise, and no teachers were around. The students were terrified, thinking only of one thing, escape. But outrunning a millennium-level soul beast? Easier said than done. Activate your soul rings, summon your martial souls. Facing death, the students unleashed their martial souls. All sorts of strange powers manifested, from weapons like knives, forks, and halberds, to animals like dogs, cows, and sheep. The martial souls were a mixed bag, mostly pretty average, and the soul rings? Forget about it. Most had just 2, one white, one yellow. Some had only one, a single white ring. Their strength was underwhelming. Altogether, they couldn't muster as much power as the Redbud Mastiff. The Redbud Mastiff spat fire and charged with murderous intent. Its iron claws slashed through the air, sending a shockwave that knocked several students off their feet. Then, it fired off a fireball, scattering even more students. Those caught in the blast suffered horrible burns, their flesh scorched and bloody. The Redbud Mastiff was unstoppable. Within moments, all 20+ students on the field were defeated. Ack! It hurts so bad. My arm's broken. Broken. I'm burning. Help me! Every one of them was injured, bones broken, skin burned, flesh ripped open by the Mastiff's claws. They writhed on the ground, screaming like stuck pigs. Roar! The Redbud Mastiff's cold eyes showed no mercy. With a low growl, it lunged at the injured students, ready to finish them off. This is it. We're done for. Watching the Mastiff close in, they were resigned to their fate. Badly injured and in agony, they couldn't even lift a finger. All they could do was wait for the end. Then, a delicate fragrance filled the air, and pure white petals drifted down from the sky. These petals were unique, they looked like flowers, but not quite. Closer inspection revealed they were made of white light. One petal floated down and landed on an injured student's head. With a flash, it merged with his body. What the? The student gasped, his body trembling. A warm, soothing current flowed through him, like a hot spring. His wounds began to heal miraculously. Even his broken arm was mending, and he could lift it again. The same thing was happening to the others. The strange petals healed all their wounds. Then, a girl appeared behind them. She looked about 14 or 15, with long, shimmering silver hair. Her slender figure was hidden by a black dress, and a black veil covered her face. Only a pair of ice-blue eyes were visible, but they showed no emotion. She looked distant and detached, not like someone her age. In her hands, she held a pink begonia, glowing with holy light. It's the Jiuxin begonia successor. Yi Lingling, that everyone recognized the flower-shaped martial soul instantly, the famous Jiuxin begonia, known across the land for its wide-area healing powers. And this girl was Yi Lingling, the current successor to the Nine Hearts begonia martial soul. Get up. Never give up on survival. Yi Lingling's cold, firm words cut through the air. The students, who'd already given up, felt a surge of shame. Brothers, let's take this beast down. Thanks to the Jiuxin begonia's healing, the students' injuries were gone, and their morale was soaring. They roared with newfound courage, ready to fight the Redbud Mastiff. A flicker of confusion appeared in the Redbud Mastiff's cold eyes. It didn't understand how the students it had just injured were suddenly back on their feet. After thousands of years of existence, the Redbud Mastiff had developed some intelligence. When its gaze landed on Yi Lingling, understanding dawned, and its eyes hardened. Roar! The Redbud Mastiff roared furiously, charging into the crowd like a tank, scattering everyone in its path. It made a beeline for Yi Lingling at the back, swiping at her with a claw. Ah! Yi Lingling cried out in pain as she flew through the air, landing heavily under a huge maple tree, 13 meters away. No! Protect Yi Lingling! But before anyone could react, the Redbud Mastiff was upon her again, raising its massive iron claws to crush her skull. Everyone's attention was focused on Yi Lingling, and nobody noticed the black-haired boy beneath the maple tree. He had been standing there all day. His eyes closed, he stood motionless, his left hand on the scabbard, his right hand gripping the hilt of his sword. He was poised to draw, but he hadn't moved. From the start, nobody had noticed him. He stood silently, blending with the trees, his breathing in rhythm with the breeze. Am I going to die? The fear of death washed over Yi Lingling. Looking at the iron claw descending on her face, she felt a flash of fear and despair. Just as the Redbud Mastiff was about to kill her, the power the boy had been gathering for a day finally exploded. A long sword, as white as snow, flashed from its scabbard. Chapter 18 Breakthrough. Great Soul Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The long knife roared, a whirlwind of lethal intent slicing through the air as it crashed down on the Redbud Mastiff's head. Boom. The razor-sharp blade ripped through flesh and bone, shattering the Mastiff's skull in a single, decisive blow. A spray of strange purple blood splattered across the training grounds. No way! Silence descended. The students stood frozen, eyes wide with disbelief. Every gaze converged on the black-haired boy. One strike, that's all it took to kill a 1,000-year-old soul beast. Who is this guy? Shock rippled through the crowd. Even Yi Lingling stared, utterly stunned. Where had this powerhouse come from? She had no idea he was even at the academy. Nailed it. Reward, soul power +1. A cold, mechanical voice echoed in his mind. A hint of satisfaction flickered across the black-haired boy's usually stern face. This young man was Feng Xian. A year had flown by. Compared to the boy of a year ago, he stood taller, straighter, his eyes held a new depth. His black hair flowed thick as a waterfall, and he exuded the aura of a drawn sword, ready for anything. His swordsmanship had become even more refined, his soul power significantly stronger. He no longer feared facing even a soul-level expert. He sensed he was on the verge of a breakthrough, just a hair's breadth away from reaching a new level in his sword-drawing skills. Congratulations. Soul power at maximum. Current soul power, 200/200. Level up now. Feng Xian noticed the stares of the students around him and frowned. He suppressed his excitement, sheathed the shadowless knife, and swiftly left the training grounds. He didn't want to level up in the middle of a crowd. In the northern section of the main campus, he slipped into an unassuming courtyard. Feng Xian sat down and quietly focused on leveling up. A golden light enveloped him, radiating divine majesty. Powerful energy surged through his veins like a tsunami, constantly fortifying his soul power. 3 minutes later, the system chimed, level up successful. Congratulations. You are now a great soul master. Reward, God-given Blade X1, level 21. Great Soul Master. A wave of joy washed over Feng Xian. He'd dedicated himself to mastering the sword drawing technique, and after a year of relentless training, he'd finally broken through. He immediately checked his stats, the ultimate sword drawing system, host, Feng Xian, level, LV21, title, Great Soul Master, soul power, 0/210, skill, basic sword drawing technique, 99/100, God-given blade, 1, martial spirit, Ice Phoenix Soul, elementary 51 out of 100, talent, Ice Knife. The God-given blade was awarded every 10 levels. Now that he had just broken through to level 21, he had one opportunity to copy martial arts with the God-given blade. He felt a surge of excitement. He had to carefully select a powerful martial spirit to copy, or he'd waste this precious opportunity. A year of hard work had honed his swordsmanship, his strength, speed, and momentum all significantly improved. He could now successfully draw his sword about 5 times a day, earning an average of 5 soul points each time, totaling roughly 150 points per month. Leveling up was relatively quick at lower levels, but Feng Xian frowned. His proficiency in both sword drawing and martial spirit cultivation was increasing at a snail's pace. After a whole year, his Ice Phoenix Soul proficiency had only reached 51 points, barely halfway to the next level. As for his basic sword drawing proficiency, it was even worse. It had only increased by 9 points in the entire year. It had been stuck at 99/100 for a month. It frustrated him to no end. Increasing his sword drawing proficiency was proving incredibly difficult. But on the bright side, the more difficult it was to improve, the greater the rewards would be once he broke through. Feng Xian's eyes sparkled. He was increasingly eager to see how his sword drawing technique would evolve. Knock, knock, knock. A gentle knock echoed from the door. Feng Xian raised an eyebrow, closed his eyes, and pretended he didn't hear it. I saw you go in. A cold voice cut through the air. Feng Xian startled, then grudgingly got up and opened the door. A petite figure stood before him. A silver-haired girl, cloaked in a black veil and wearing a black dress, stood there. Her blue eyes were cold, and held a melancholy that seemed beyond her years. For a moment, Feng Xian was stunned, then recognized her as Yi Lingling, the current successor of the immortal nine-hearted Begonia martial spirit. Yi Lingling was a well-known genius at the Tiandou Royal Academy, reaching the Soul Master realm at a young age, and one of the few highly sought-after female students in the academy. Though she rarely removed her veil, her ethereal presence hinted at a stunning beauty. Beneath, countless boys had tried to catch a glimpse of her face, but none had succeeded. There was another Tiandou-level genius, Douluo, equally powerful and beautiful. Douluo was a campus beauty in the academy. Yi Langling's sadness and coldness sharply contrasted with Douluo's charm and allure. They were both highly influential figures at the academy, earning them the reputation of being the 2 most beautiful women in the school. Feng Xian was surprised to see Yi Lingling at his door. He wondered what she wanted. Yi Lingling hesitated, then looked him in the eye and said earnestly, "I'm Yi Lingling. Thank you for saving me today." "You're welcome." Feng Xian gave her a quick glance and began to close the door. Yi Lingling stood frozen, watching the door close. Annoyance bubbled up inside her. She pushed the door open. "I came to thank you." Yi Lingling stepped into the small courtyard and said, slightly irritated. "I already told you, you're welcome." "Goodbye." Feng Xian frowned. "Besides, when did I save you?" "Just now. From that redbud mastiff. Don't you remember?" Yi Lingling asked. "Oh, were you there?" "I didn't see you," Feng Xian said, a little confused. He figured the girl's presence must have been so small, he simply hadn't noticed her. Yi Lingling's eyes welled up. She bit her lip and said, "It doesn't matter if you don't remember. I don't like owing people. I came to repay you. Ask me anything. I'll do my best to help." "You really want to repay me?" Feng Xian's lips curled into a grin. "Yes. Yi Lingling nodded eagerly. Then let me chop you. Huh, Yi Lingling stared, speechless, as a golden blade flashed towards her face. It glowed with divine light, engulfing her completely. Chapter 19 The Second Martial Spirit, Jiuxin Begonia. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. You chopped me. Tears welled up in Yi Lingling's big eyes. She looked at Fang Xian with a lost and pitiful expression. He just stood there, cool as could be. Yep, chopped ya. Fang Xian's voice was flat, like he was talking about the weather. Humph. Humph, that the silver-haired little Loli stomped up to Fang Xian, glaring at him. How could you do that? Nobody's ever hit me before. That was so mean. Water under the bridge, Fang Xian said, looking at Yi Lingling, who looked like she'd seen a ghost. Besides, I'm not taking responsibility for this. He thought, all that chopping, what good are you now? Why don't you pack your bags and get out of my house? Do I have to throw you out myself? Fang Xian frowned, half tempted to just scoop up this annoying little brat and toss her over the wall. Stare. Yi Lingling puffed out her cheeks and plopped down in front of Fang Xian, just staring at him in silent protest, whatever. Fang Xian closed his eyes, ignoring the staring contest. He needed to calm down and check out his haul from this little adventure, ding, congratulations. You've acquired the nine-hearted Begonia soul, new talent unlocked, healing knife, the nine-hearted Begonia was a top-tier support martial soul, practically legendary for its healing power. It was only passed down through one line, with each generation only getting one successor. If two nine-hearted Begonia soul masters were alive at the same time, one had to die before another could appear in the bloodline. That's how rare it was, even though Yi Lingling was kinda dumped by the third young master later on, and the nine-hearted Begonia just disappeared from the story like a shooting star, nobody could deny its insane healing abilities. In the Imperial fighting team's match against the Shrek Seven Devils, the nine-hearted Begonia, as the support soul master for the Imperial team, gave the Shrek team a real headache. Ning Rong was even envious. But nobody could beat the main character's plot armor. Tang San, all the girls I beat fall for me, and the ones I can't beat fall for me too. After that battle, the nine-hearted Begonia faded into obscurity. The nine-hearted Begonia only excelled at one thing. No matter how many soul rings it had, it only got one soul skill, area of effect healing. Full-on, total healing. That was enough to swing the tide in team fights, plus, the higher the soul master's level and the more soul rings they had, the better the healing would be. They didn't just slap the immortal title on the nine-hearted Begonia for fun. If a soul master with this martial soul reached title Douluo, or even broke through to god level, bringing people back from the dead might actually be possible. Fang Xian was buzzing with excitement. The nine-hearted Begonia's potential was even higher than the Ice Phoenix. The ultimate sword drawing system, host, Fang Xian level, LV21 title, Great Soul Master soul power, 0/210 proficiency, basic sword drawing technique, 99 out of 100, God-given sword, 0 martial souls, Ice Phoenix soul, elementary 51 out of 100, nine-hearted Begonia soul, elementary 0/100, talents, Ice Knife, Healing Knife He checked his stats, and the nine-hearted Begonia and Healing Knife had been automatically added. Getting the nine-hearted Begonia unlocked the Healing Knife talent. I wonder what kind of cool powers will pop up when the nine-hearted Begonia levels up. Fang Xian was seriously looking forward to it. Now that he'd copied the martial soul, time to test out the healing power of the nine-hearted Begonia, but to see the effects, he needed a guinea pig. He opened his eyes and saw Yi Lingling right in front of him. A mischievous grin spread across his face. What are you gonna do? The silver-haired little Loli saw Fang Xian's evil grin and shrank back, sensing that this creep was about to pull something nasty again. Yi Lingling, right? Hey, I'm Fang Xian. Sorry about chopping you up like that. Feng Xian flashed a gentle smile, as warm and bright as sunshine, and apologized to Yi Lingling like he really meant it. For some reason, seeing that warm smile wash over her face, Yi Lingling felt her heart skip a beat. Her cheeks flushed, and she found herself a little breathless. She couldn't meet Feng Xian's eyes, managing only a tiny voice. It's okay. Doesn't look like I got hurt anyway. So, I'm gonna chop you up again. Just a heads up, that Yi Lingling's jaw dropped. The sweet fantasy she'd started to build around Feng Xian shattered. What? You want to chop me again? Feng Xian thought he was being a gentleman, he was giving her a warning before chopping her. She wouldn't find a guy that consider it anywhere else on the Douluo Continent. No way. I don't agree. You're a bad person. That the silver-haired little Loli finally snapped out of it and glared at Feng Xian. She realized she'd wandered into a wolf's den. The guy in front of her might be kinda cute and might have saved her, but he was still a total wolf. She wised up quick, sensed the danger, and darted for the door, ready to bolt from this creepy place. Run. Where are you gonna run? You really think you can get away? Feng Xian watched the silver-haired little Loli scrambling to escape, a classic villain smile plastered on his face. A support soul master strolls into my territory and thinks she can just leave. Hey, little bunny, just come quietly. Soul power surged through him. He stomped, his feet exploding with force, and shot forward like an arrow, catching up to Yi Lingling in a heartbeat. Yi Lingling barely made it across the threshold before Feng Xian was on her. Scared out of her mind, she screamed, "Help! Shut up! Or I'll beat you black and blue." Feng Xian clamped a hand over Yi Lingling's mouth and glared at her. He was rough as could be, dragging the struggling little Loli back inside. I'm done chopping. Now let me use you, you little gadget. As the door slowly closed, a few ambiguous words drifted out into the courtyard. Author's question, huh? Getting a little spicy again, huh? Chapter 2100 Ways to Use Loli. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is my first time doing anything like this. Her long eyelashes fluttered, and the silver-haired little Loli squeezed her eyes shut, like she'd given up. Funny, me too. Feng Xian said. I'm a little nervous. Don't sweat it. I'm a pro. Ow. That hurts. Shoo. Feng Xian held a fruit knife and sliced a cut on Yi Lingling's chubby little hand. Crimson blood welled up, filling her palm. The silver-haired little Loli burst into tears, looking pathetic. Seriously? It's just a scratch. Why are you bawling so hard? After all that, he'd barely cut one of Yi Lingling's fingers. Feng Xian was speechless. He felt a pang of sympathy for the crying girl. He'd originally planned to chop off a hand and see if it grew back, but seeing Yi Lingling so upset, he couldn't bring himself to do it, so he just nicked her. The cut was maybe half an inch long, not even close to the bone. So merciful of me. Feng Xian shook his head, sighing, always plagued by his own good nature. Why don't you cut your fingers off? Yi Lingling asked, sounding thoroughly miserable. Because it hurts, Feng Xian said, besides, only a dummy would chop off their own fingers. So, it doesn't hurt if you cut someone else's hand. I don't feel anything, anyway. Yi Lingling, a usually quiet little Loli, was a perfect guinea pig. Feng Xian wanted to test the healing powers of a nine-hearted begonia martial spirit he'd just gotten. A snow-white begonia flower floated in his core, its petals crystal clear and radiating a holy light, complementing the proud ice phoenix beside it. It was a beautiful, peaceful sight. As he slowly poured soul power into it, the nine-hearted begonia began to bloom. Waves of life-filled energy coursed through him and reached the knife. The shadowless knife lit up with a sacred, moonlight glow, slicing through the air, and countless snow-white petals flew out, creating a beautiful, almost holy scene. Healing knife. A white petal landed on Yi Lingling's injured finger, instantly turning into a stream of light and melting into the wound. The half-inch cut closed itself rapidly, moment later, it was completely healed. What is that? Is that one of your spirit abilities? It's so much like my nine-hearted Begonia, that Yilingling was stunned, her icy blue eyes wide with surprise. Her hand healed so quickly. It was an incredible healing ability, very similar to her own nine-hearted Begonia, a knife that could heal wounds. Unbelievable, the silver-haired little Loli was totally lost, unable to figure out what the big bad wolf had just done. I'm not telling, Feng Xian was thrilled. He was really happy with the healing power of the healing knife. He decided that this whole thing needed to be kept under wraps. He put on a serious face and threatened the little Loli, listen up. You breathe a word about what happened here, and I'll drag you somewhere nobody will ever find you, and slice you up again. Oh, I'm so telling the teacher when I get back. I'm blowing the whistle on your secrets, exposing your evil deeds. Yilingling seemed to have finally gotten a chance to get back at Feng Xian, her little mouth barely visible behind the black veil. Well. Feng Xian was floored. He hadn't expected the silver-haired little Loli to be so dense. Time to show her who's holding the cards. He reached out, pinched Yilingling's cheeks, and pulled them hard on both sides. He could feel how squishy her face was through the veil. I won't give in. Unless. Yilingling's muffled words came from under the veil. Unless. Unless what? How can you help me keep a secret? Feng Xian perked up. He didn't expect this little tool to try making demands. Unless you take me out to eat. Yilingling said, dinner. Feng Xian thought hard for a second, nodded, and said, okay, I can do dinner. Yilingling's eyes curved into crescents. Through the see-through black gauze, you could just make out the bright smile on the girl's face. But you gotta pay, okay? Yilingling's smile froze, and she immediately looked bummed. It wasn't that Feng Xian was cheap, he was just flat broke. Tiandou Royal Academy was ridiculously expensive. A meal there cost as much as an average person's monthly expenses. Most of the students were royalty, nobles, and rich kids, so they never worried about money. They could kick back and pack on the pounds, but Feng Xian was on his own, with no help, and almost no money. He'd burned through almost all his savings over the past year, and he was scraping the bottom of the barrel. He'd been thinking about picking up some side work to make extra cash. How could he possibly treat this little Loli to dinner? Hey, I'm already doing you a favor. Don't push it. Feng Xian glared at Yilingling, grinding his teeth. I'll treat you, but you're paying. Okay. If not, I'll bury you alive. Ugh. Yilingling could list 180 reasons why this was lame. She frowned, thought for a second, and reluctantly nodded. Fine, I'll treat you. Ahem, don't get the wrong idea. I'm doing the treating. Feng Xian coughed lightly. You're just a human ATM. On the various ways to use the silver-haired little Lolita. Point 1. Copy the martial spirit. 2. Human guinea pig. 3. ATM. 4. More research is needed. What's the difference? Yilingling glared at Feng Xian. Huge difference. I'm providing the hospitality, you're providing the money. Those are two completely different things. Don't get them mixed up. Feng Xian said righteously. Yilingling's entire worldview just got warped. When a scumbag gets good enough, he can transform into a gentleman. She asked, by the way, what's an ATM? Feng Xian said, it's like a vault without feelings, get it? Yilingling. Whatever. I'm treating you, let's go. Feng Xian reached out and patted the silver-haired little Loli's head, smiled faintly, and led her out of the courtyard. They walked side by side down the street, past the garden, through the main campus, towards the restaurant in the officers' area.